I get down here. It's like Club LCP. Music's jamming today. It's just turned lunch and we're jamming. Energy. Let everybody get in here. Get down here. There we go. Audio's working. Let folks get in on this Tuesday, turning morning and afternoon. So we now officially into the lunch hour. So going on the other side here. There we go. There we go. You folks on Insta, school kids call it. Good to see you guys there. All righty. Let's bring this down. Let's join me here in the booth today. And happy Tuesday. Happy off day behind us. Now back to the grind here today. Texas and the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks tonight here at Lewis and Clark Park. 6:35 to start. Don't have a lot today. Well, you know what? Take that back. We have a little bit to get to. Not a lot, but there is a little clerical business to get to, and we'll get to that. And also take your questions, comments, maybe a lot of questions and comments from the weekend. In case you did miss the weekend, X's won 2 or 3 in Winnipeg, and then won 2 or 3 late last week in Fargo. And wake up today, 2.5 games out of the playoff hunt. Don't have the head-to-head. But that half-game play, by the way, I was talking to Mongo about this earlier with the staff. That half-game play, the X's have that whole half game was the doubleheader against King County, but Sioux City does have it's the loss column that the X's are actually ahead or better than that. You got on board with that. But yes. Rick, good to see you, mate. Good to see you out there, my friend. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Team arrived about 2:30 or so on Sunday night. Not a bad drive back. Probably a little longer than usual. For no more reason than we stopped extra times. Fine, big deal. Sunday, we're in a hurry. Up to yesterday, most of the guys a few guys were here. But in general, most of the guys were off. There was a little light hitting going on. And I'm sure guys just took the days golf or whatever. It was a good day to do it yesterday. Some rain overnight. Field was covered, but it looks great now. Don't think there's a little chance of some overnight boomers again. To see you there, Jason, as well. But we may have some spotty stuff here and there over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours. But in general, I think we're all good. So make those plans to get out here. So the other pieces of the puzzle, I mentioned clerical stuff. A couple of you folks on Discord were asking about it yesterday. X's did a couple of small moves, nothing major. Actually, one of them is good for a young man to get some reps. And that first move is Cade McCourt has been traded to Evansville in the Frontier League. Now, a couple things at play here. First, they needed a catcher that could catch every day pretty much and could call a good game. They're not asking for an offensive catcher necessarily. They wanted somebody who can call a good game. And I think they've got a good one. Cade could do that. He'll also get at bats. He's going to get a chance to play pretty much every, going to catch 3 or 4, be off a day, right? That sort of deal, kind of the main frontline guy. Evansville's already headed to the postseason. They've got a postseason berth wrapped up in that. Oh, excuse me, my neck. In that Western League, Frontier League, and that was 1950. But good for Cade. Talked to him yesterday. It was one of those situations where, he earned every right to be here. He's been a loyal soldier all year. He's probably playing more. He's one of those finds that you kind of like, okay, you got a piece, and if you hadn't committed to Wilfredo Jimenez back in, say, January, February, and which I think is when that was, and Cade was a guy, kind of a stopgap guy to get you, but he was fine. Teammates liked him, called a good game, was a really good player, a good player. I just wasn't getting the reps here. Now with Wilfredo here and Dylan Tatum here, he wasn't getting the reps. So he's going to get a chance to go and play every day. I would be shocked if you didn't see him back at some point. He talked about this a little bit in the broadcast several times when talking about him, that he's a guy you're going to bring along to the system, right? You haven't had a lot of those. I'm trying to think of the last catcher that we've had here that kind of came through the system, quote unquote, and I don't recall one. In general, the X's have always grabbed, experienced guys or guys that have flayed a ball, or guys that, Curtis Byrne last year, was the guy they grabbed out of the Pioneer League, but there's always been somebody they've kind of brought in. But this is a guy I think that should you get a chance to get back, which I think you will, you'll be able to bring him back, and he'll know the program, what he'll know what Bobby expects, he knows what Mongo expects, he knows the situation here, and he'll be able to navigate, some of the things when new guys come in. I think it'll be a really good spot for him. And he also, I think you're going to see in Evansville him hit the ball fairly well, and I think that you're probably going to see him even when he does return, see a guy that will be a really good offensive catcher and a good defensive catcher. So anyway, wishing him well. Talked to him yesterday. Well-loved guy on the team, well-respected, well-liked, really just a good teammate. And I enjoyed having him around. And again, he's a local product, granted from the Twin Cities area, but he went, played here in college and was a great athlete here. And I think you'll see him again. But again, wishing him well. So Cade going to Evansville for future considerations. The other move is a bit of an intriguing one, but not a surprise, because you probably heard, if you listen to the broadcast this weekend, you heard Bobby Post basically say what was going to transpire without him saying it. A lot of times, Bobby and Steve are very different. There's not a lot of trying to hide things. They were not happy with the spot in the rotation with Yasiel De La Cruz. Bobby was matter of fact about it. Mongo talked about it on Friday on Saturday after the ball game. The X's won a game they probably had no business winning because the offense is so good, and it worked out that way. You'd have told me on the road trip you were gonna have the Atano and De La Cruz combo platter starts, I'd have told you those are probably your two losses, right? But you got you got wins in both those starts, and because your offense was really good on Saturday and your bullpen was really good on Thursday, and probably, be honest with you, it probably cost you a game on Sunday. But you got to think of it in these terms. Williman, who was a battler, man. Willie was a battler on Sunday. He knew his team had to get 7. He was out there, even though he probably should have come out in the 6th. He's out there because the bullpen was taxed for the whole weekend, because you had 2 starters who couldn't get through 5. And because when that happens, you got to tax your bullpen a lot more, and they, what I'm saying, and it's a trickle-down effect. So then Willie's got to go out for one more inning, and the bullpen's got to be rested because they're taxed, they're gassed. And Bobby talked about this a little bit on the show, a little bit on Sunday, and Mongo referenced it a couple of times over the course of the week. He actually talked about it post game on Sunday that our bullpen was taxed. I mean, those guys had a lot of work on the road trip, and it was a good work. I think the ERA in the bullpen was a 3 because it was a 3 with 2 losses, and in the wins they were less than 1. So again, it's one of those things you look back, when you step back and look at it, the move for De La Cruz being traded now just to Milwaukee, which I don't believe that's going to happen now. I believe he's just going to be released because he refused the assignment. So we talk about that a lot. It's one thing to have trades. You got to have guys who want to go. He was not going to pitch here anymore. He could not be. He's not helpful in the bullpen, and the young man is scuffling the rotation. And you've gotten yourself, your bullpen has got to be spot on. They can't be overtaxed. You can't have 2 places in the rotation where you're not going to go 5 innings. You can have 1, but you can't have 2. And 2 in 3 days, you just can't have that. And you saw the trickle down effect Thursday. Atano he battled. He got you to 4 2/3. He got you the 5th, but when he ran into trouble, they got to cut bait when the getting's good, and the bullpen's going to come in there to lock it down. Beard did that. Then you have your guys set up, and then Caceres, Trey Morrell, Rob Hughes all worked a lot on the road trip, And because that all trickles down, eventually it's sort of like the credit card, right? It's not the NFL salary cap. You can reshuffle the money down the road, right? You can keep pushing the can down the road, but eventually you got to pay the fiddler, right? Eventually the bill comes due. We can run a big tab up, throw the credit card down, and no good. But eventually that bill's going to come due in a month. You got to pay it, right? So that's sort of what happened. You eventually the bill comes due. The bullpen's taxed and tired and thin, and they only have X amount of arms down there anyway. And so that's the situation. The roster update there. Hey, Joe, good to see you out there. Tracy, good to see you as well. Hope you guys are doing well today. Well. So that's your roster update. Nothing monumental, but I think what it does, it will tell you if you read between the lines. Obviously, there will be something coming at some point. I don't know what that'll be, but there'll be something because you've now got a hole in your rotation, and it's got to come from somewhere. You got to fill it somewhere, and the bullpen's been really good, and it ain't coming from there, But we'll talk about that later on as the week progresses. I think we'll have some news on that down the road. But the X is at the moment a little shorthanded on the roster, a little bit, but I think some of that'll trickle out and take care of itself. You could have activated Cade McCourt and had him on the roster, but he wasn't going to play a lot. So that's why the trade. So there's all these business pieces in the puzzle, and now you do have a little wiggle room in the roster. Now you do have some space. I think your offense is pretty much set. I don't think there's anything out there that you're just going to say, okay, should there be maybe a utility piece, perhaps, maybe. I mean, you're pretty much set what you got, especially if you have Vuletic playing third and Denton is an extra guy. Yorman at second. That seems to be the more mix. Although Zane is probably going to play more at the moment at third and Vuletic at second. That looks to be the way it's going to be. But there'll be guys getting rest. There'll be some rest out there. But you don't really need a lot there. And I mean, I guess if you dig up Babe Ruth, I suppose. But I mean, it's not much I need. Hey, Ted, good to see you out there, mate. How you doing? But I don't know about the trade situation. Somebody asked me on Discord last night about that. I don't know. The league has changed dramatically from say 5 years ago. Really, go to last year pre-COVID. This was an active time for trades, guy. But you could get something for later on. But the nature of these contracts now, it's not like I'm going back to what Greg Taggart used to do. Taggart used to have a ton of to be named later pieces he got down the road. And I remember vividly, I had a list in my laptop of teams that owed us players, what to be on the lookout for and what we were going to get. I knew that. And it's less of that now because now it's a year-by-year proposition. Guy, you've heard Mongo talk about it. Guys want to come here for whatever the next man up. Yikes. Guys want to come for 3 weeks. Some do, some don't. I think what you're going to see is a shift in the whole, okay, you played with the athletics organization to get released, say in July, and guys are going to take some time to shut it down. I don't think you'll see less guys coming like Deshaun Knowles did in 24 late in the year. You'll see less of that. You're going to see less trades. You're going to see more Northwoods League guys on the draft league. You'll see more of those who say, okay, now I get my chance, right? And they had a really good chance, maybe a good run in the Northwoods League or a good run in the draft league. And they're like, okay, team wants me. I guess my chance to show that I can pitch at another step up. You're going to see more of that. I'm not saying you won't see trades, but I mean, barring a major trade, which is possible, but you got to know, again, I just talked about, you got to know a guy's going to go there, right? You can't have a bag of balls and some sunflower seeds and, an extra pair of spikes to go to a trade. You've got to have a guy who wants to go there. Guys have got to, we've been burned before. We've been burned 2 years ago. Waited around for pieces from Cleveland and never showed up. mean, what was it? Rafael Palmeiro's son was going to come, and so again, it's an ever changing landscape of our business in this partner league. But I think more likely scenario you will see any additions will come out of the wooden bat leagues, young college guys, and think a Landry, think of Mertens types, think of guys like that. You're not going to see a lot of position players unless it's a utility guy, maybe. You're going to see, guys with a track record, whether it be. And the thing about it is, talk about this a lot. It doesn't have to be Division I, SEC, Big 12, even Big 10 baseball. It's baseball, because the one sport where, we're talking football and you're just saying, hey, I'm going to get you an offensive lineman that played D3. He's probably 6'2" and 300 pounds. He probably can't. He might be a guard maybe, and he might play center maybe. But if you see the guys in the NFL playing center and guard, they're 6'4", starting at 6'4", 3 bills, 6'5", 3 bills. Center might be 6'2", 6'3", but they're 6'5". Tackles are 6'6", 6'7". I mean, it becomes a size thing. Well, in baseball, it's not like that. You can play the game 6'6" or 6'2" or 5'11". You can play the game, right? So you can be D3 and D2 and NAIA. We've seen it. We have guys on our roster that played at those levels last year. Josh Landry is sitting home in California now, who played to that level last year. So 6'7". Yeah, okay. I guess I kind of fell into that, didn't I? Okay. Hey, DB, the rest of the schedule is brutal. It is. But it's real for everybody. Let's run through that real quick, Matt, while we're doing this. Let's segue to that. Here is what's up today, okay? Let's go with today. Kansas City's got a break. They're playing Lincoln, but Lincoln's been playing well, right? Winnipeg is going to Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls scuffling a bit, but they're playing at home in that launching pad of a ballpark. There'll be some crazy-ass games there with both offenses. Sioux City's got Fargo. And then you've got, let's see here. Sioux City's got Fargo. That's your stretch right there. But on the core, here's the week that is for Kansas City's got Lincoln and Sioux Falls at Sioux Falls. Winnipeg's got at Sioux Falls at Sioux City. It's a challenge. Sioux Falls, Winnipeg, and Kansas City both at home. They could give a lot of runs in that series. The thing about Sioux Falls is their pitching is so up and down. In that ballpark, they can get buried quickly or they can bury you quickly. Watch them. I'm not convinced that they hold their water. I'm not convinced. They're pitching scuffling a bit. I think it's catching up to them a little bit now. They've had Dormany's been really good for them, but watch them. You got to pass them, but I'm not as convinced before. I used to say, oh gosh, you can't do anything about them because you don't have the tiebreaker. I'm not convinced that you're not going to finish ahead of them. I think there's a chance you could. Of course, the Fargo situation, like Fargo's series again, are going to be here, and they got Fargo's here, and they're at Lincoln. Lincoln's a desperate team like you are. That's no gimme, it's no layup. Lincoln is right behind you. They got Kansas City and Fargo. So there you go. That's the week that is. I said this in the article for the program. You do your baseball math, Matt. You do what you're supposed to do. It'll take care of itself. I know that it doesn't mean you're going to pitch anybody, but if you win 2 or 3 here, you're going to close the gap on Fargo. You win 2 or 3 at Winnipeg and close the gap on Winnipeg. And when things happen the right way, you do your baseball math, you're going to close the gap. Everybody's going to get closer now. Will that put you in fourth place? Maybe, maybe not. You can't control what Sioux Falls does. You can't control what they're doing. But if Sioux Falls goes in that 6-game homestand, let's say they go 2-4, you go 6-2 or 4-2, then you're in a different story. If you take care of your business, you'll be fine. You take care of business, it'll be fun. Sunday, the X's have had 2 really bad Sundays, not bad games, but really 3 outcomes on 3 Sundays in a row. You lost the Sunday game in Fargo, which wasn't your fault. You gave up that loss to Chicago. Now Chicago went out and won a series after that, so they did show up come up for air. You lost that Sunday series here, didn't lose the series. You lost the chance to sweep, and you had a sweep intact on Sunday in Canada. But again, I go back to what I talked about a while ago. The reason why the transactions happened, because it's all a domino effect. Because you had to use your bullpen so much to get those wins. When you had to have your bullpen on Sunday, they were gassed. They needed the day. And Willie gave you all he had, man. He's a battler, man. That young man is battling. He's out there battling. And, you just anybody behind him, and because those guys are taxed. They're out there trying to get outs, but they're taxed. The nature of the game is eventually you're going to get got, and that's what happened. And reset again. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Where were we up here? Howdy, GM. Good to see the lovely wife out there. Where were we at here? Yeah, and Kenny, is this what sort of Mongo said a little bit to me? You play well enough, you can start worrying about the scoreboard, and you can do that now. When you were 5 back, 4 back, but again, let's go back to that series the series opening in Chicago. You were 5 back, 4 back, right? We were 5 and it depended on the day, 5 or 4, right? You're right there, 5 or 4, and that was a time when Sioux Falls was in 3rd. They dropped down to 4th and 5th, down to 4th. So Kenny's right. You've earned the right to scoreboard watch now. That's why last night, I know Robbie saw it. I saw it. I had the game on and the bluff last night before I, went out and had a very late snack, very late, not 8:30 snack, 8:40. But when I realized Fargo was in hand, I left. I watched, they were up 7-1. I'm like, okay. That was help for you. And the opportunity is there now to watch the scoreboard, watch and play yourself the pictures. Robbie said, you're right. You're totally right. Robbie says, put ourselves back in the picture so we can enjoy some things out. Yeah. Needs some story. And that's where Robbie, that's where Bobby and Steve both were over the weekend. And that's why the move was made by De La Cruz. Bobby told you candidly on Sunday, and Sundays of Bobby, he was candid about it. Something had to be done there. And he was going to have a long talk with Atano. He told you that. Go back and listen to the broadcast on Sunday, if you can do it. He says, we have to have a long talk in a minute. And we have a translator there. It's not going to be just pat in the back. It's going to be it's going to be talking about going forward. You cannot afford, when you're trying to make up ground, to have 2 starters not get you in the 5th inning. And you can't have guys out. And the X's, they need wins so bad that they had to go on Saturday night. I talked about this a bit. Mongo talked about the postgame show. If you remember, I talked about it. I looked down there, and Steve and Bobby had a chat. Steve talked to Raphael. One of those conversations along the lines were, what are you seeing? How you feeling? Because at the time, they were only down, it was 3-0, right? 3-0, 5-3, right? Is that right? 5-3? But you felt the offense was seeing things well that night. Luke Boyd, they were seeing Luke Boyd, and they'd had good numbers against him, and Boyd didn't look like he wasn't going to figure out whatever it was he was trying to. They'd had 2 good swings against him. So they're down that 2nd inning. They go to the 3rd, and they didn't hesitate. They had to go lock it down right then, and they went and remember they got the lead right there, got the lead right back, a 7 spot, right? So now you're up, you got a 7 spot. Now it's 10-5. And now it's like we cannot go back out there and give up a 3 spot and get buried again and have another crooked. You've had these crooked innings happen, right? You're going to see them now. The quick trigger's there, and they pulled it. And they went out there. Ryan Beard got you some valiant innings, and you had to turn your bullpen. A lot of guys bridged it, but you can't do that every night in your rotation. You can't be in the 3rd inning of your rotation, be done, or you can't do it 5th inning even. This thing's set up for the 6th inning. Hughes or Gherkin, one of the 2, probably Hughes, 6th inning, right? He's been great there, man. Great there. Yes, he gave the run up over the weekend, but that was the first one to get up in 9 appearances. He's been great. And some nights you have Gherkin, some nights you roll out Tanaj. Tanaj has been great too. He's been locked down. We got Group A, Group B. And then you're starting to get the Caceres and Trey Morrell spots. And those guys, and Anderson Beta was good in the road trip. All those guys had really good moments. and they're each getting an inning. Like Mongo said, an inning. You don't want them out there with 3 innings. You can't have that either. You got your bullpen out there, the same guy for 3 innings. That's when you get in trouble. But it all goes back to what I said a while ago. The move for De La Cruz is all because of you cannot reach in that bullpen, that bag of bullpen every other day. And Thursday you did it. On Saturday you did it. You had to do it again on Sunday, but you didn't have enough gas left. These guys are human. They're not machines. They got to have some rest. It's a game set up upon failure, and eventually you're gonna get God, as I said, and eventually you do. And then you start all new streak again. So anyway, just the dynamics there where we're at. McKinney's right, Robbie's right. You guys are all right on. You're back in the picture. Mongo talked about it a week when this 12-game stretch began. And I actually broke it down before that. I started that first stretch, which was the 13 games and then the 12. And you came out of the All-Star break and laid an egg. That was terrible. That was bad. But then you ride the ship in Lincoln, much better. Then you had that series. You had a series here. You went against Kansas City. You won. That was a big feather in your cap. Then you laid an egg in Gary. But now you look. Your home series are starting to be a pretty machine-like. Your last 4 3-game series here you've won. The one you split, which is against the best offense in the league, you held serve. If you hold serve against them at their place in Labor Day weekend, you're going to be in the playoffs. I guarantee you that. I'll tell you that right now. You go up there and win 2 games in Lake Country, you're in the playoffs because you're taking care of your business at home, assuming you do what you're doing still. And you put yourself in the mix. We talked when you're 4.5, 5 back. Now you're 2.5 back, and now tonight you get a win tonight. And if let's say Sioux Falls drops one. Or you get a win tonight, you pull closer to Fargo. You win 2 of 3, you're going to take, even if you drop back to 3.5 again, you keep doing your 2 of 3, you're going to be fine. And you're going to be right there where you need to be the last week of the season, right in the mix. And that's where you're at. And now there were 3 weeks to go, you're right in the mix. You're very much in the mix. And I would tell you, as impressive as Winnipeg has been, they've been really good. You were equally as if more impressive. I know I talked about their podcast a little bit. They kind of glossed over the fact like we were even in town. But the Axis matchup well against Winnipeg and looked good. I mean, Mertens looked great. Williman looked great. Your bullpen looked great. Your offense, I mean, Alberto Osuna was a beast. And the rest of the pieces, Vuletic, George, Davis, they had great series. Vanderbrink had a good series. Tatum and Jimenez had a good series. Everybody that wore jersey down there had a good series. You had a game where 7 guys had 2 RBIs in it. I mean, Alberto Osuna would have the back-to-back batter of the week. It wasn't for a guy that the MVP character Mears in Lake Country who had just 1 more home run. So a lot of really good things, but you're right. You put yourself in a position by taking care of your business, and then we talk about the baseball math. Winnipeg, how did Winnipeg get there? Well, they won 12 or 13 in a row, right? That got them in the mix. That got them from the 4 spot to the number 1 spot, who they stayed there for 24 hours till you knocked them out again. But that's one way. But how likely is that? I played blackjack last night, had a great time doing it. With a lot of crazy people down there at the casino. And I'm playing last night, and there's this one guy who, I don't know if you guys have seen this game, but this guy and his wife was telling him, and he was playing the lucky 7, it's blackjack, but you also have the side bets going, right? And the side bets will pay you, if you get 3 of a kind. They're playing you poker hands. What it is, it's a way over the house to make more money. And just suck you back in. I get it. I don't know poker that well. I mean, Brad Allred does. Happy birthday, by the way, Brad. Brad's a poker genius. I'm not. I don't know poker. I wish I did. I know blackjack. I know it. And I'm playing last night, and a guy, I swear to you, this happened last night, and it's not sustainable. I'm telling you because I watched this happen. The guy literally hit on 21. Doubled down and hit on 21. Okay? Double down, hit on 21 with $50 out there. Now, the reason he did that because earlier he had 3 of a kind, or there was 3 sevens that showed up or whatever, 3 of a kind. It was 3 of a kind. and he made $450 on those side bets. He's telling you that's not sustainable. You're not going to win. You're not going to win those bets. And you double. So what happens? He gets a 21. He's feeling pretty bold about himself, and he doubles down on that 21. He's got blackjack showing, right? He's going to get paid unless he's going to get paid. He doubles down. He loses. It's not sustainable. Pushing the envelope like that's not sustainable. And eventually you lose and you go back to normal again, right? So I'm telling you now, Winnipeg, that is not sustainable. It's a great way to get back in it. But the better way to get back in it, last night I walked out, not with a major profit, but the guy that won the 450 gave most of it back. He walked away with the same amount of money as I did. Yeah, he rode the big crest up at the 450, but he was doubling down, doing dumb stuff, splitting hands in the wrong situation, doubling, not sitting on 16, then hitting on 18, just dumb stuff, just dumb. And I watched this pot of money go down like that. We left the same amount of money last night. And why? Because I was doing 2 out of 3. As boring as hell as that is. It's boring, right? Because you don't win 7 or 8 hands. No, when you do win 7 or 8 in a row, you take that ride, right? But you don't win you don't do that. So I'm telling you, baseball math is like playing blackjack. You ride it. Yeah, okay, 7 or 8's great, but the more likely scenario is 2 or 3, 2 or 3, 2 or 3, 3 or 4, split, tie once in a while is okay. When the dealer's got a good hand and you tie, that's okay, right? It's okay. Split a series. But that's what it's like. And I watched the guy last night where it's not sustainable. So it's not sustainable. And, I'm just, you got to think in those terms. So the likely way to get back in it, let's go back to the X's again. You do your baseball math, and that's in the article of the program. You win 2 or 3 here. You win 2 or 3 this weekend. The biggest game I'll tell you is going to be the series in Gary next week. You go to Gary and screw around again and go up there and get beat 2 or 3. Then this conversation is like, what are we doing here? You got to mix in a series win the road again against Gary. You didn't do it last time. You got to do it this time. But if you win the next 3 series, then it's come home against King County, and suddenly things get interesting and all that. So you guys are all right. You're all in the same boat here. But again, I'm not saying winning 14 or 8. We win 14 in a row, are we fine, right? We won 8 in a row 2 years ago. It's great. It's not likely. It's not likely, but the scenario is winning 2 or 3. And that's why the bullpen's so important. That's why the rotation piece, that's why Atano's got to go 5. Why De La Cruz got to go more than 2. And that's why the move was made, De La Cruz, because the X's just can't afford that anymore, because you can't tax your pen and need Willie out there on a Sunday when he probably gave you everything he got. The guy is a battler. He gave you everything you got. But you were so shorthanded, you had no choice. And because it all trickled down from Thursday to Saturday, games you won, mind you, you won those games and you had to win them, but you could have got one more, right? So that's where they're at. That's why those moves were made. All right, let's play catch up here. Where were we at here? Let's see here. Yeah, they could have easily thrown the towel in. And I guarantee you, I'm just telling you, I know what the broadcasters of the league, I know the folks that cover the league, no one even gives this team a chance. Not a conversation. You're not going to see highlights of the X's. You're not going to see a lot of talk about the X's. Hey, you may see a post this week that 6 teams are all still alive in the division. You'll see that post. It's an easy post to throw out there. It's an easy social media post for the league. It'll be easy. They don't really believe that. I don't believe that. But that clubhouse believes. That clubhouse believes. They believe, like I've told you all along, they're better than what some of their parts showed early this year. And now you're starting to see, okay. And again, I talked to a couple people in Winnipeg. You're like, I got to tell you, Dan, I don't want to see you guys again. You're at Winnipeg, and you got to play the X's in the playoffs. How you feel about that? Seriously, how you feeling? Sioux City's dictated the terms of that series head to head. Now, yes, it's regular season, but how you feel about that? I think a little nervous. Let's see here. I think so too. And I thought he would pitch. I gave him the player of the game on Thursday because he gave you 4 2/3. He hadn't given you that. He gave you 4 2/3 of five earned runs, 3 walks, 6 hits, and 4 strikeouts. Or the big inning, the big crooked number, right? Or he gives up 2 in the first inning, then 2 in the fourth inning, and then you're down 4-0 before you can come back or whatever. He gave you what you needed against a really good offense. I thought that was a turning point for him. And like I said, I think they look internally. I don't blame them. You look at what you got. That's a guy they have something there. I think they believe they got something there. And if you're not asking him to go out and throw 7 strong, you just want to get you 5 because you know that Burton's going to get you 6. You know Willie's going to get you 6, right? Jared Wright's going to get you 6. But you got to get 5 from that spot, and then whatever you get in your 5th spot, which there'll be something on that this week. Something on that will be this week. And there you're looking at a situation where you're probably getting a guy that's got some innings that's going to get you 5. That's what you're looking for. You just can't get buried early. You can't be in the bullpen in the 3rd inning. You can't be trying to salvage a series by going the bullpen in the 3rd. 5th, 6th, maybe, but not 3rd. All right. Excited to see what can happen. Hopefully a complete team win. Amen to that, Tracy. I'm with you on that. Taylor says, a former black judge I lost one. Taylor, and here's the thing. I love to play blackjack, and I love the folksy conversation amongst people. One of the dealers knows who I am, and he's really nice. He's been there forever, and he's a really nice guy, and he asked how the team's doing, all that. And you got the guy across the way that's had a few too many, and he's had a good time, and he's asked me, how do I know you? And we started talking, blah, blah, blah. So I get a chance to talk with the exes. Then you got, and we had the airplane, the SkyWest crew guy was cool. This one couple, they keep driving by, the drive-bys, I call them. And he sits down, and wife's behind him, and she says something and gives him the money, and they're there for a couple of hands, are gone again. And then he's hitting on 18, and I warned the dude, and I told that this happened to me last night, Taylor. I said, I will hit on 17. There are times when I got no choice. That dealer's got a 10, maybe sometimes an ace, but more likely a 10. He's going to turn a 10 up. Or he's going to turn a 2 and then a 9, right? Or 2 and 8, I'm going to push. So I got no choice for the numbers to hit. I mean, it depends on the situation, what I got out there. And I did last night. And sure enough, I hit it, I think I hit a 17, got a 3. Either turned a 10. I had a best tie. I tied. I had a great time, not a lost, right? I've hit 17, hit a 4. Now, some of you bust. I've hit 17, hit 27. But I'm against the right hand, I'm going to do that. But I mean, we're talking a guy literally hitting on 21 last night. Hitting on 18 with the dealer's got a 6. Dumb stuff like that. And this guy, but he was there doing the side bets. He didn't care about the blackjack hand because he won the 450. But again, his blackjack stack went like that. 450 went like this because he was screwing around. And when the telltale sign for me, Ted, is when a person is not paying attention because they're too busy, doing something else. That's a classic sign of that's time for me to go. I left. Anxiety baseball, 100% right. Yes, 100% right. Got to win a series, got to win a game, got to win games, man. The doctor's right. High anxiety. Hello. Have I heard of Ceremos in? He didn't play last night. I know his knee's bugging him. We talked about that a little bit. We were there. He was bugged. He was bugged going back a couple weeks ago. Remember they pitch ran for him in that Sunday game? Saturday. He didn't play last night. I expected him to play in the series, probably DHing, maybe the more likely scenario. Dylan Thomas had a home run last night. That's not a good sign. He's a beast. Love that guy, but he's a beast. Sports Expresso brought to you by Hard Rock. Yeah, it's a nice place, man. I don't like the smoking, though. Nothing worse than smelling like smoke. That's the worst. But recreational blackjack is fun, except when you get, again, I'm fine with just me and the dealer, or me and a couple of, another gentleman or two. Just when you got the party pit going on, and when the kind, right? Everybody wants everybody's name. He's got 2 drinks going. He's got the whatever on the rocks plus the beer he hadn't finished yet, and he's like all over the place. 1 minute he's hitting on 16, 1 minute he's not. No rhyme or reason to it. Just sort of, like I'll split him. I don't know. I'll double. I don't know. Maybe no. I don't know. Give me another. And you got the one that was doing the drive-by in and out. They won 450, but then again doubled down on 21 and lost 100. So my $10 didn't seem so big of a deal then. All right. Short series, spot on, spot on. That's why we play these 3-game series and why you play them. That's why Mongo harps on the 3-game series time and time again. That's why you yeah, the winning streaks are great, but in a 3-game series, you're a tough out. Right. Absolutely. And you saw how things went on Saturday and how things went on Friday. The X's got 3 stolen bases on Friday that were all 3 huge to get the offense going. So you're right, man. You're spot on. Spot on. In a 3-game series, your bullpen's rested, and you're going to see Caceres and Morel twice, maybe 3 times. You're going to see, those guys. You're going to see a Tanaj and Rob and Girk. You're going to see them. Yeah, crazy. Unbelievable, Taylor. I'm telling you, unbelievable. I love recreational blackjack. I love it. One time I told this story. One time, I think when my wife and I's first trip to Vegas, she's been twice. The first trip I took her on, I don't know, 10 years ago. I think I sat there. Well, what was the second day? Because the first day I was sleeping because I'd flown from Australia to Dallas nonstop, and then got in a plane that got in at like 1:00 in the afternoon, and I flew that night at 9:00 flight to Vegas. By the time I got to Vegas, I was like, I don't know what time zone and planet I was on. But the next day, she went to bed, woke up next morning for breakfast. I was still playing blackjack, same clothes, shift change and all that. So anyway, oh man, yeah, spot me. No, 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 no. I'm not a good Baptist. Oh well, maybe it's the Methodist side of me, perhaps. I don't know. Who knows? Great. I told this story before. The reason I'll do about the cards again. The reason I broadcast, one of the reasons I got in this business is many, many moons ago when I was probably in 3rd grade, 4th, maybe, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. My great grandmother, who lived down in Temple, Texas, right outside of the Fort Hood, she'd go down to the bingo houses, card houses down along by Fort Hood, and there were, she'd go in there and play bingo. In the back room was the card rooms. This was back in the she probably started doing this in the 1940s during the war, 30s even, but she lived there from like 1939 till she passed. She moved to West Texas when the last 2 years of her life, but she was down there forever. And she'd go to these bingo halls. They were the bingo hall. Bingo was legal in Texas, it still is. But the card playing and all the back where the servicemen would play, and she would win prizes. Well, back in those days, you won prizes for bingo, and she won me a Zenith radio, old school box radio with a turn dial clock where the alarm you set, little arms, had AM and had the little pulled up, pulled down for the alarm, and it's an AM radio. I love that. I had it right next to my bed, and that's where I turned into the Midnight Trucker show. And that would come on late at night. But before that were the Texas Ranger games. So I'd always do the Rangers, especially on the West Coast. And then also I discovered, wait, you can hear St. Louis on this. Wait, I can hear minor league baseball from Oklahoma City. Wait, I can hear Chicago sometimes. Opened up a whole new world to me that I didn't know existed. And it was this game on radio. So that is where that carried over. I had that radio through high school. And still would listen to, KMLX or KNX out of Los Angeles or all the Clear Channel, WAI in San Antonio. I'm a huge Spurs fan. I used to get the Spurs games right there in my bedroom as a kid. Great, man. Anyway, I digress. Where were we? Yes, my great grandmother. Yes, yes. My aunt knows all about that. Yes, exactly. All right. How are we feeling today? What are you guys? I think you've all told me you're all a little anxious, right? Is that good? Better than being done, right? Playing everything to play for matters, right? You're very much alive. You're very much in the thing, right? I mean, anybody else besides Robbie anxious? Let's see who's on Insta here. Trey, good to see you, buddy. Love your work. Andrew, how much golf did you play, Andrew, this week? I got to find that out in the broadcast tonight. All right, good to see you guys there. Ford, as well. Again, like you guys said, you put yourself in that position. You put yourself in a position no longer to scoreboard watch and take care of business. Before you just try to take care of business. Now you can do both, right? All begins tonight. Fargo in town. Matchup. Where's my matchup? Here it is. Yes. Howdy from the greatness out west. Where are we at? Yeah. Tonight will be Bryce Brassfield, true rookie. We're talking about true rookies earlier, right? Guarded optimism. Like that. Brassfield tonight against Jared Wright. Now, Bobby talked a little bit about Jared over the weekend. He felt really good about where he's going. So we'll look for those adjustments tonight. Always anxious, hopeful, but weary. There you go. I like it. Mickey says, we did what we had to do on the road trip. Let's get it done. Yes. Get it done at home. I'll let you guys read this one. I'll just kind of chuckle. Got some traction, doesn't it? The league really missed a chance to market that, by the way. I'm just saying. Let's have a Lincoln game, please. What do you mean by Lincoln game? Like a winning game? Is that what you mean? Or am I missing that? It's good W's, right? It's good W's. All right. Pitcher matchup, yes. I told you Brassfield and Jared Wright. Tomorrow, where is it? Tomorrow will be Parker Harm. Parker Harm is a lefty out of the bullpen, but I think they're going to use him as an opener tomorrow and have a bullpen piece behind him. And then Matt Walker, you saw last week there in Fargo, will be the starter. And then you'll have, for you guys, for us, 14-2. Oh, 14-2 game. Gotcha. Yes, I'm with you on that. I'm all for that. X's will have Wright tonight, Atano tomorrow, and then you've got Nate Mertens on Thursday. And then you'll have TBA on Friday. Saturday would be back to Willie, and then Sunday would be Jared Wright. That's the schedule at the moment. Could be changed, but I think that's what you'll see. TBA will be something coming on that at some point. It's a plan in place. I do know that. How those cards come on the deck as we talk cards, anybody's choice. Oh, number 20. Yes. Yeah, remember that game. Yes. Larry asking, Shermer didn't play last night. He's been bothered by a knee. He DH'd in the series against Sioux City. He played the first game. He DH'd the next two games. He's been battling a bit of a knee issue. As a matter of fact, was it Thursday? They were pitched. Thursday a pitch ran for him. I think so. They had to. But yeah, and he's a battler, man. He's on battle. But yeah, he's battling a knee. But he'll be. I guarantee you, he will be ready to go. He'll be ready to go. Any update on Josh Landry? Yes, Josh is in California, Tracy. I don't know if we didn't get to that earlier, but last Tuesday or Wednesday, he went home arm fatigue. He's going to shut down for the year. He won't throw again until December. He threw a lot of innings. They're at Hope International, but he hated to go. We hated to see him go. He was great. I mean, talk about a find, man. We had two really good rookie finds on the mound this year. Two really good ones. Mertens and Josh Landry. Mertens has kind of picked up the baton because you had two pitching candidates for Rookie of the Year in Landry and Mertens. And now you got Mertens in that conversation now. So 0.83 walks per game. I mean, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. But yeah, he will be shut down till next year. Jay says, I'm feeling pretty confident. We know what it takes to win. I feel these guys want to play in September so they can keep from the gas. I agree. Yeah, I wish I had better news. That's really, when I heard it was devastating too. But the X's survived the last road trip and the homestand without him. They hoped to get him back. It just didn't work out. He threw a bullpen Sunday week ago. We were home against Chicago. He went through 5 pitches and that was it. That was it. So guys know, he knew. A lot of innings, he just shut down. So maybe again, the piece for next year. No doubt he's going to be welcome back here, no doubt about it, and a chance to probably be one of your top 2 starters in the league in your rotation next year. Heck, you get him and Mertens back next year. Start the year. They won't finish the year here, but start the year here. Look out. Look out. Yeah. So that's the news of the day here at 1:00 Central Daylight Time on this Tuesday, August 18th. X's and those Red Hawks tonight. Fargo probably left a couple hours ago. They should be here an hour, I think. Who else is out there? I'm just checking my Instagram, folks. See who's out there. Glad you guys Instagram are there. Justin says, I'm in the Berg. Glad you're in the Berg, mate. Glad you're here. All right. Yeah, grateful, but it's still an asset. You're right. And he'll be missed, but he's still part of the plans. Robbie says we've been in every scenario over the years. One of these years we reward. Yeah. And maybe you're the team this year. We're the team this year that had to be playing playoff baseball for a month, right? Robbie, I'll bring this up, and you're probably going to be mad when I tell you this. 2018, right? You know that happened that year. Well, Kansas City was playing playoff baseball the last 3 weeks of the year and kept playing playoff baseball, right? They weren't guaranteed the playoff spot till like the last weekend of the season. They had to win some series on the road. I mean, they battled. That was a year the division was really good. Everybody was good in the division that year. And that scenario worked out. So I'm a big fan of playing your best baseball every night. But if you're going to be playing your best baseball, it's the time to do it right now. And we talked about flipping the switch. Well, you've done that. Now you got to keep doing it, right? And starts tonight. Now you come out and lay an egg this week. You don't win this series. Everything you did last week means 0. You win the series tonight, win a series this weekend. You need one game against Winnipeg and Fargo to have the head-to-head. But if you don't win those series, the head-to-head's useless because you're probably going to catch them, right? But we're now playing playoff game number 7. That's what it is. Tonight for them is going to be Brassfield, the right-hander, true rookie out of from Minnesota State, maybe. Sounds right. I think that's right. Can't wait for the guys to get home. I hope it gets loud the next couple days. See y'all tonight. Yes, and Mongo said the very same thing. Very same thing. You guys are so fast. I can't believe you ever lose. Yeah, and they slowed down a little bit over the weekend, but I think you'll see those stolen bases jump up a bit here at home against Fargo. They're still on pace for about 290-ish. 300 is. I'm worried about 300 now because they've had a couple of stretches where they've gone. They won the stolen base battle on the wins over the weekend, but they didn't need him as much on Saturday because you have 17 runs. You're not going to score 17 runs all the time, but if you're scoring 7 or 8, you're going to be stealing 4 or 5 bases a game. They're going to need another couple stretches there. I think this series against Fargo is an opportunity. I think next week against Gary is an opportunity, although their defense has been much better. I don't know. Do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. Dave, I appreciate you, my friend. Good to see you out there. All right, everybody. Love y'all. Let's get out of here. Discord channel right there. Don't forget to join us there where we chat about the game. I try to check in where I can and give you guys a little insight where we can. Sometimes some bonus content. The game notes will be there. Probably about 3:30-ish. They're about halfway done now, but I'm about to eat my arms, so gotta grab me some lunch. Fat kid gotta get lunch, man. All right, see the broadcast tonight. Love you guys. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be back here tomorrow, and we will dissect the game that was and the game that is, and we will continue to roll. X is trying to just keep traction here and trying to stay in the race, and they're doing that right now. 2.5 games behind those Sioux Falls Canaries. All right, we'll watch the scoreboard tonight. Andrew will be with me tonight as well. We may have a guest or two. We never know. And we may have a guest on the broadcast tonight. I'm hearing that perhaps. So if you can't make it out, join us on KSCJ in Sioux City and, of course, abaseball.tv. You bet, Tracy. Good to see you. Who's leading us out today? Okay, I'll lead us out today. All right, hold on. Let me put this up on the screen. There we go. Oh, Tracy's leading us out. You bet. Go X's, go X's, go X's. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. You guys ready? Ready to go. 1, 2, 3. Go X's. I'll see you on the broadcast tonight, everybody. Everybody's getting out of here. Everybody's leading us out of here. Everybody's doing it. Here we go.